I know, so dramatic, right?
Hey guys, how you doing? It's Henry at Mowers and Blowers. Welcome back to another episode. This is a free
For free!
That's right, free Toro 7 R-Tek 24-inch clearing path, 2-stroke, single stage Snow Commander snowblower. This was made around the early 2000s. This was the largest snowblower that was 2-stroke at the time, with a 24-inch clearing path. It was made to compete with the dual-stage snowblowers, but just being 2-stroke and single stage. It has power propel. When you engage the auger and pull forward, it tilts forward to allow the paddles to scrape the ground and propel it forward to give you that forward assist. It has pneumatic tires, but this one is solid. This was probably a newer model than the older ones. I've had about 15 of these in my life, of which one time I bought 11 at the same time. I sold them all between $300 and $350 at the time. Nowadays though, snowblowers aren't worth very much here in Long Island, New York, where we don't get very much snow at all. So while I got this thing for free, even this working, I may get max 200, 150, 100 bucks, something like that. Anyway, I got this from a subscriber. Thank you to John from Holtzville who gave it to me. He had taken it apart because it didn't start after sitting for 3 months. He replaced the black plastic stock carburetor with a newer third-party aftermarket metal steel carburetor. And he still couldn't get it to run. So today we're going to try to figure it out. Like I said, he did take it apart, so there are some things that need to be put back together again if we get it started. Now, just pulling it a couple of times, it does turn over sometimes. Basically 1 revolution, so you'll see puffs of smoke, but it'll never stay running. It does take 50 to 1 2-stroke oil gas mix. So just to show you what it currently does, we'll put the choke on choke, we'll put the ignition to on, we'll prime it a couple of times, and primer basically just pushes air into the bottom of the carburetor bowl where it pushes air in there, which pushes gas up the emulsion into the mouth of the carburetor to get it primed. This has never run, as far as I know, in my possession. It only has puffed out some smoke and maybe turned over 1 revolution. You can see it's a little bit of mist or smoke is coming out. This did have electric start. However, the Bendix gear on the starter motor is stripped. So this was removed by John. Kind of almost wanted to there. Which means it's getting spark. A big problem with these Snow Commanders is that the magneto goes bad and you have to change the ignition coil, which I've done probably 5 out of the 20 that I had. But we have spark here, we know we do. Yeah, there's a little piece of it right there. Let's tilt this forward a little bit just to see if we can get more gas, more level into the intake manifold. And we'll try it again. That was pretty good. So it just won't stay running. I'm going to remove this carburetor and check it out better because it is an aftermarket. I might consider taking the black plastic original stock carburetor and putting it on and see if it works. Got some cardboard here so that we don't drip two-stroke gas all over the place. We'll put it forward in its service position where you put it on space. That cover's going to come off. As you can see now, that is the metal carburetor on there. It's new, aftermarket, probably made in China. Just going to remove this bowl real quick just to see if everything's in order. If there's any debris in the bowl, which I doubt, it's new, right? And plenty of fuel came out, and look, brand new. Want to make sure the needle is seating when you move the float up and down, and it does. So I don't really see anything wrong with it currently. Just wanted to check it real quick. Didn't leak. As you can see, the gasket's good. I'm going to tilt this back down again. We're going to loosen this clamp, take off this hose, put it down level again, and see if fuel flows very quickly and freely from the gas tank. That way we can rule out a fuel delivery problem. Let's just try it again. That's choke. We put it to off choke now. Put it in the middle. That was interesting, huh? How it just worked like that. I want to feel like it's something to do with the governor spring. How maybe the tension may be too high so that it really needs that heavy spark and combustion for it to get started. And once it gets started, it's easier to run, but then touching the governor spring over here, giving it more tension, it stalled. So I think it has something to do with the throttle and the governor tension. You guys see that? So first of all, there's a fuel shutoff switch that's pointed inwards. Just twist this out. We'll turn it off for now. Move this clamp out of the way, open her up. Now let's test the flow of the, I want to twist this. Now at least it's pointed outwards instead of inwards, right? So let's open up this valve and see how much come out and see if it's free flowing. It's not. Look at that. There's nothing coming out. There's no fuel coming out at all. What's up with that? So you guys see what I'm talking about here, right? Snowblower is level, just like it's supposed to be. Fuel line is pointed downwards. There's the gravity fed type fuel filter, which is correct. If you look at the fuel tank, there is fuel there. But is it at an angle? If you look at that, the way the angle is of that nozzle, it's pointed upwards. And you have to climb that little hill to get in there. I just checked that nozzle. You cannot turn that nozzle. It's permanently sealed that way. So It's designed to point upwards. I figured if I turn the nozzle pointed towards the side, you don't have to make this uphill climb, being that it's gravity fed. And look, there is like an inch of fuel in there. The problem is because it's turned upwards, the fuel doesn't reach where the petcock is. Let's just fill that with fuel, at least like up to there, you know, and see what happens. It's 50-to-1 oil gas mix, pre-mixed. I'm just gonna pour it all in there. I got plenty. All right, let's see now if it pours out. You ready? It's full of gas and it's not pouring out, which means I think the fuel line is collapsed. I'm gonna remove the fuel line from the gas tank and test it. Okay, I put it back on its face again. I'm gonna disconnect the fuel line. Right there. I'm gonna remove that fuel line altogether from the nozzle coming out of the gas tank. Hard to get my hand in here, but there's a hole at the bottom that allows you to do this. It's a bad angle. There we go. There you go. Here's the whole fuel line. Open the valve. Blow. It's restricted. Yes, some air goes through, but it's restricted. Let's test and see if it's this part right here. If it's the 3-inch one that's restricted. Nope, this is wide open. But it is collapsed also. It's very rubbery and puffy. See this? Yep, that's restricted, man. Let's see if it's this fuel filter. Here's the fuel filter. It's kind of restricted. Let's see if this blows freely. Yep, it's kind of restricted. I have a feeling that this fuel line is collapsed. Because you can blow through it, but not like freely. Not, you know, there's resistance to it. So I have a feeling we need to just change these fuel lines because no fuel is getting to the carburetor. At least not enough. See, that's much better right here. Feels good. Let's check if the petcock in the fuel tank is clogged. We just put it right down and see if it just pours out with no hose on it. Pouring out, my God. I just put everything back. It is somewhat restrictive, but it's because of the fuel shutoff as well as the fuel filter. When I did blow through the fuel filter, a lot of stuff did come out, so maybe it was slightly clogged. But I put the regular hoses back, even though I thought they were collapsed. But then when I tested each segment of these, it blew freely. I'm just going to connect it again and see if it pours out. Okay, so it poured out of the gas tank. Now we got the hose back on. We cleared it. Let's see if it pours out. Shut it off for now. see if it comes out of it freely. Ready? All right, but look. It's not exactly fast, you know what I mean? Let's just connect this back on here and see. It's filling up.
So it is getting fuel, although not pouring out, it is getting fuel.
So after running for a little while, the smoke has cleared out. It's no longer smoking as much. But watch when I engage the auger, that spins. But when I disengage it, it still spins. That wire is too tight.
As you can see, this part right here, the engagement control cable over here, it's too tight. So that even when you engage it, it spins, but then when you disengage it, it still spins. It needs to go down a little bit more because this is too tight. So how you do that? It's really easy actually. You just pull this part out, so you give it some slack, give it some more slack. As you can see, there's these setting holes. We'll just put it down to this one here. See if we get some more slack. It's a little better.
how about it, guys? I think it was just a clogged fuel filter. It wasn't getting enough flow into the carburetor, which is why it was having trouble starting. Gas wasn't getting into the carburetor.
Pretty amazing, actually.
Now look. So that power propel with no load is really good. Obviously, when you power propelled it, you sounded like it was slightly surging, like it's because there's no load on it. You know what I mean? But engine runs great, idles great, starts up really easily now. Now I'm just gonna put I'm gonna put the chute back on, the cover again, and I just hope that we have enough screws because I have a can of screws given to me by John, and we'll see how everything goes. But I'm just gonna keep it as is. Runs fine. I wanted to show you guys what I got for Christmas from one of my occasional sponsors, JF Eglo, welcoming me to the new 2025 year and the cooperations that we've had. Look what they sent me. It's a custom mowers and blowers neon sign. You can increase the intensity or lower the intensity. How cool is that, huh? That's pretty cool. JF Eglo makes some of the most reliable, powerful devices like tire inflators.
Right now it's showing 6. It was 5.5.
Jump starters.
It won't start. Your car won't start. 6,000 amps. Enough to jump start a truck. Diesel truck up to 13-liter engines.
Tire inflator and jump starter combinations.
Turn it back on again.
This 12-volt jump starter, 6,000 amps from JF Eglo is a great product, which I've done reviews on my channel. Some great products, and also lots of other bigger YouTubers have been sponsored by JF Eglo. It's a great company with great products, always very reliable. I'll leave a link in the description. Thanks a lot to JF Eglo for this wonderful Christmas present. I'm gonna take some pictures of it using some Super Clean. There we go. Looks much better for pictures. Starter motor for this. It's very useful to have electric start. As you can see,
the Bendix gear here is stripped. Maybe worth it to buy a new gear? How much could it cost? I'll research that, but let's see if it works. So you just plug your 110 AC plug from your garage into this module with the 2 prongs. Press the button, see if it spins. It sure does. This actually is worth some good money too. Maybe 40, 50 bucks on eBay. So maybe I'll go invest in a new Bendix gear, fix this, either put it back in here or sell this on eBay for 40, 50 bucks. See what happens. So how about it, guys? I thought it was going to be the carburetor, but that metal carburetor replacing the original stock black carburetor was not the problem. The problem was the fuel delivery. We tested and troubleshooted the fuel delivery system, which consists of the fuel lines, the clamps, the fuel filter, as well as the petcock that goes into the gas tank. We topped it off because it seemed like it was low on gas, about 1 inch, but still, it's kind of a bad design. It should be able to flow freely out of the petcock, where the petcock was actually molded and built so it points upwards, meaning that it had an incline that gravity has to pull strong enough to get over the incline to go down. So we couldn't do anything about that because it's molded that way, right? But we did test every segment of the fuel lines by dismantling it, blowing through it, see if there's any air restrictions. The ones that we did find with slight air restrictions was in the fuel filter. As I was blowing, a lot of stuff came out, and then you could breathe through it. Just blew it out, replaced the fuel lines back again, tested the flow. While the flow is not pouring out, it is coming out in a decent stream, just fast enough to fill the carburetor full of fuel. Then we put the lines back on, fired it up, fired right up. It's just not getting any fuel. I put everything back together again and adjusted the auger control cable. So it had a little bit more slack and it wasn't super tight, so that when you release the auger engagement handle, it stopped the auger from spinning. Use some super clean to clean this up so I can take some pictures. And we're going to list this on Craigslist, OfferUp, and Facebook Marketplace. Long Island, no snow, no demand for snowblowers whatsoever, but this is a snow commander, and you don't see these online very often. So, while I was just going to list it for $100 and see what happens, I think I'll list it for $225. And then take as low as 150. Gives you room for negotiation. So once again, thanks a lot to John from Holtzville for giving it to me. It was just a fuel delivery problem, but we did get it started and running pretty well. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember to like, share, and subscribe so I can continue to bring you small engine content like this one. See you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers.
Next time on Mowers and Blowers.